Welcome back to the Morning Edition. For a number of years, the Bahamas and the People's Republic of China have been building connections and strong relationships. The efforts have been expanded through the Bahamas China Friendship Association. This morning, we have a closer look at this bond and how many of those members are faring in the wake of the current situation impacting China and the coronavirus. Here's Mukush Lapinder.
Well, joining us live this morning is Gershon Major, president of the Bahamas Chinese Friendship Association. Mr. Major, welcome to the Morning Edition.
Thank you. Good morning.
Tell us about the association. How long has it been in existence, and what are the relations right now?
The association was established with the sole purpose of expanding the relations between the People's Republic of China and the Commonwealth of the Bahamas in three specific areas. The first is cultural exchange, getting to know each other's culture. The second was regarding trade and commerce. How do we improve the opportunity for enhanced trade and commerce between our two nations? And as you know, and the third, people-to-people exchange. And understanding that we are part of the international community and we should increase our relationships post establishing diplomatic relations with China in 1997, May 23rd. So it has been a phenomenal deepening and strengthening of that relationship. We've been attracting a number of new members, particularly millennials, persons who either have studied in China, who are back home, persons who have just finished university, either at the undergrad or graduate level, and a number of business persons have become new members. And the reason for that is we are seeing an increasing opportunity for trade between the Bahamas and the People's Republic. As you know, the level of investment that the Chinese investors have in the Bahamas through Bahamar, the Point, which is now Margaritaville, soon to open, the Hilton Hotel, the harbor in Abaco, etc. So we're finding a number of business persons like Janice, who does business in China directly, Eagles Electric, Mr. Marvin Stewart, who does business in China directly. All of these are members of the association. In
the wake of the corona outbreak, with China being the epicenter of the pandemic, how's the association dealing with that? What are its members saying? What is its members saying? Well, first of all, what we've been communicating is the contextualizing the conversation relative to the facts. So what are the facts? What do we know? The Bahamas has no confirmed or suspected cases in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Now, why is that important? That is important because the FAIR index regarding this COVID-19 is heightened as a result of, one, what persons are either hearing but not necessarily understanding relative to the facts. Two, it is a concern simply because we are a tourist destination and our number one economy is tourism. I think the definition that what this is by the Pan American Health Organization, which is a public health emergency of international concern, does cause one to be careful, but it doesn't require us to be fearful. I think it will be impacting us more economically than it would be on a health concern because of the nature of our economy. I am very encouraged by what I see coming out of the Chinese embassy and the People's Republic in terms of how they're dealing with this situation. The world itself, in terms of the Caribbean, has a cohort of countries who are working in concert to combat and mitigate the impact, and that is the CARICOM community. Now, you noted economically. Has there been a big economic impact on let's say, the Chinese members of your association?
There are two forms of association. We have the Bahamas China Friendship, which we cover those Bahamians who are interested in doing business and exchanging in China. Then there's the China Friendship Association headed by Mr. Wong, and we work in concert with each other. What I've been understanding from Chinese Bahamian businesses, there has been a fall off in business in some ways significantly. One particular news media reported in one area of business, 40% reduction. I have a concern with this because these are Bahamians of Chinese origin. They employ Bahamians.
So when there's a significant reduction in business, it has an economic impact on the operations of that business, and persons having to now make a decision as to whether or not they could sustain certain level of expenses. And when they are unable to, the first line of expense is salaries and staff cuts. I want to encourage Bahamians to please continue to support these businesses, because they employ our brothers, they employ our sisters, they employ family members, and in many instances, they are part of the economy of the Bahamas. Small and medium-sized enterprises are part of the engine that drives the economy of the Bahamas.
Do you think it's a particular business, Chinese business? Let's say, for instance, just the Chinese restaurants, or it's across the board in terms of the Chinese tailors, the bookstore owners, those kinds of things?
I think it's particularly concentrated in the area of food and beverage, service areas like restaurants, etc., where persons have a bit more concern in terms of what they're consuming, what is being prepared, how it's being prepared, the sanitation process, etc. And rightly so. That's legitimate everywhere you go, not just in Chinese Bahamian businesses, but any business. You want to know that they are preparing your meals in such a way that's in accordance with the public health concerns and the parameters. And I think that is nothing to be afraid of. I think that's happening. From what I understand, you wouldn't be in that type of business if you didn't have a public health certificate. And so if there are persons who are minded or concerned, then they may have to make their own individual decisions, but not to the extent to which it jeopardizes the economic viability of a number of these businesses.
Have you heard a concern that, some Chinese members maybe feel discriminated against, ostracized because of what's going on?
I think in some cases, but then again, that is an unfortunate situation, and it again indicates the level of uncertainty, and the FAIR index is really predicated on two areas, misinformation and incomplete information. It is important that Bahamians get the correct information and inform themselves. There is the Center for Disease Control that does daily updates. There's the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, does daily updates. There's the World Health Organization, there's our own Ministry of Health, and from what I've seen coming from the Ministry of Health and the Minister, it's been factually based, detailed information on what is the current concern, if any, in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And as I said, there's no suspected or confirmed cases. And so there's no need to discriminate. There's no need to be afraid. These are members of our community. These are citizens of the Bahamas. And I'm hoping that we continue to support their enterprises.
What are the goals of the association moving ahead, perhaps outside of growing its membership?
That's exciting. As a matter of fact, we did have a trade mission that we rescheduled that was going to be in April. So as a result of COVID-19, that has been put off indefinitely until this matter has subsided globally. But our goal is to expand trade and commerce. So we're seeking to take a group in concert with the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce to China at the appropriate time to the Canton Fair, which is the world's largest fair, and to expand the opportunity for Bahamian businesses to find ways to improve trade and commerce. We'll be looking to honor our founding members who started this association hopefully later this year. We are also going to be strengthening our relationship with the People's Republic in terms of cultural exchange, having Bahamian artists and creatives go to China to perform, whether it is Jonkanu, singers, designers, etc. But we want to export our culture to China as they have been exporting their culture to us.
Well, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Again, Gershon Major, President of the Bahamas Chinese Friendship Association.